You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
This is Jenny Earhart with Southern Sisters Radio, and I'm your Southern Sister. In case you didn't know, you can check us out every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. And I'd love to hear from you. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
Welcome to Southern Sisters Radio, the show for Southern women and the men who adore them. Join us as we celebrate life from a Southern point of view. Here's your host, author, founder of Southern Sisters Home, Jenny McCormick Earhart.
Welcome to the Southern Sisters Radio program. Here we are. It's time to start the show.
Oh, yes.
I look forward to this all week long. I rehearse it in the car on the way to the studio.
Do you really?
I do, yeah. And sometimes people look at me a little strange.
That's okay.
As my kids say to me when I'm talking to myself, Mom, your lips are moving. We know you're talking to yourself. Your lips are, at least shut your mouth when you do it. You know you guys do that. Do you ever have something important you need to say to somebody and you sort of rehearse it in your head before you actually say it, right? So it's a useful skill to sort of self-rehearse yourself. I do it every week. Guess what, guys? Southern Sisters Radio has our own Spotify playlist.
Hey.
Oh, yes, we did. And once again, we can thank our dubious, wonderful, talented producer, Nick Bean, for creating that for us, because we play, and Nick will agree, I think, with us, that we play some great music on the show.
We do play some awesome tunes here on Southern Sisters.
Yeah, we snatch some great music and play it here. Then typically it goes along with our segment ideas. ideas, our concepts. Plus, it does a whole lot for sort of setting the overall mood of our show.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, if you like what you hear on Southern Sisters, we are in the process of uploading some of our great music to our Spotify playlist. We only have a couple of songs on there now, but
it's growing by the week, folks. Growing by the week.
Yeah, so we're going to be putting some good ones on there. So check out the Southern Sisters Radio Spotify playlist. I got to tell you, we had a little adventure in my family this week, Nick.
Oh, really?
I didn't tell you about it ahead of time because I wanted it to be fun and spontaneous and organic on the air. Okay.
All right, so what happened?
So I have a college-age child. She just graduated from college, and she's home now while she's interviewing for a real job, the grown-up kind of job.
The grown-up job, yes.
Not the yogurt shop job, right? But the grown-up kind of job. And so I had a conversation with her. You know what? I'm not even going to use her name. We'll leave everybody wondering as to who she is. I don't want to call her out or embarrass her. But we did have a little conversation at the dinner table about what are appropriate rules for college-age kids that are temporarily at home while they're interviewing. She intends to move out on her own and get an apartment soon. However, she's home now. So what are the expectations of a adult parent with an adult child? And I really only have one. And that is, this is what I said to her. If you are out and you are not coming home, because she's got a lot of girlfriends in Atlanta, sometimes they'll just crash at each other's places, right? Yeah. I said, if you're going to spend the night at one of your girlfriend's houses and you're not coming home, just text me and let me know.
I think that's fair because, you're still, they're still your kid.
Right.
So you kind of want to make sure they're good and they're safe and everything's okay.
Yeah.
But you can't really tell her she has a curfew. I mean, you can, but
the
she's
advice
a
Earl gave me was
adult.
you can ask, but you can't necessarily enforce.
That's true. That's very true.
And I get that. So I just try to guilt her.
I'm just going to say, that works.
Because
that
you know
works.
what? I don't know if for those of you parents that are out there, but there is no worse feeling in the world than 3 o'clock in the morning and the child's car is not in the driveway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten those 3:30 phone calls before.
Okay.
When I still lived with Mom.
Right?
She's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm at so-and-so's house. She's like, okay. I really would have appreciated a phone call or a text message.
I even told mine, just one letter. Text me the letter K so I know you're okay. You're alive, right? Okay, so here's what happened last week. So she ended up spending the night at a friend's house, but I wasn't able to reach her. Okay? She had forgotten that maybe about a year ago, she had turned on her location services with my phone. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
So I can see where she is and she can see where I am. So, of course, in the morning, then the next morning, I am using location services to where is she? And I see that her phone is in downtown Atlanta. Like at the corner of 10th Street and Juniper in downtown Atlanta.
Okay.
So I start to have a little panic attack thinking, did she fall? Is she laying on the side? What has happened? The parent's mind goes a little crazy. So she finally gets in touch with me and she says, I lost my phone. She said, I'm so sorry. She said, I was going to text you this morning, but I lost my phone. I can't find it anywhere. And of course, me.
I know where it is.
I said to her, guess what? I know where your phone is. It's at the corner of 10th Street and Juniper in downtown Atlanta. And she's like, oh my goodness, we have to go find it, Mom. We have to go find it. Now, I had just had lunch. Those of you may remember my best friend, Pam, who has done the show with me a few times. So Pam and I are at lunch, and she's just talking to me about what a slow week it had been. Nothing exciting was going on. It was kind of boring, and she just needed a little adventure in her life. And then it's just a few minutes later that I get this phone call from Catherine that she has lost her phone. Ooh, I said her name.
Oh.
I just outed her big time.
That's okay.
So my friend Pam says, let's go find the phone. I said, okay. So we went and picked up Catherine, and the three girls, myself included, headed to downtown Atlanta on a treasure hunt, basically to find my daughter's lost phone.
Wonderful.
Because I know she didn't want to have to spend $600 on a new phone, right?
No.
So we're following it like detectives, right? We get downtown, we find a place to park, we get out of the car, we're walking along the sidewalk. It's a busy part of Atlanta, right? There are little restaurants around. There are, just kids and strollers and people just moving everywhere. And I'm thinking there's no way, even though it says it's here, how do we really know? Because it doesn't really pinpoint it down to the square inch.
Yeah, you're not going to, where are you going to find it
General
in this mess?
Vicinity, you know what I'm saying? So we're walking along the sidewalk, looking in the grass. We're looking in the gutter. We're looking around everywhere. One or two people stop and say to us, what are you looking for? And, well, we've lost a phone. We've lost a cell phone, And there were a couple of homeless people down there, here and there as we're looking around. And Catherine finally said, it might be on the other side of the street. Let's cross the street. So we crossed the street. And we zoom in on the little indicator, right, that tells us where the phone is.
Yeah.
And we can tell we're getting closer and closer. And over about the course of 10 minutes, we kind of were circling around in smaller and smaller concentric circles, getting closer and closer to one said homeless man sitting on the corner with his grocery cart.
Oh, no.
Okay. Do you know where I'm going with this? Right? So we're getting closer to him. And finally, I say to Catherine, I think he might have your phone. And she's like, well, I don't want to say anything. I said, well, you're going to have to. I said, you lost the doggone thing. You have to go talk to him.
You are the one.
You have to go talk to him. So can you believe it? We just all kind of approached him together, trying to be very non-accusatory, right? And just said, excuse me, sir, did you by any chance happen to find a cell phone? And, or actually, Catherine said that to him. I was trying to make her take responsibility for it. And he just kind of looked at us like we were crazy, And then I held up my phone. I said, well, we have location services turned on. So we know it's right here somewhere. I don't know if that scared him. I'd like to think that he's just honest. But as soon as I said that, he's like, oh, I did find this thing. I did find something. I'm not quite sure what it is. I haven't used it, but let me hold on just a second. So he stands up and starts rummaging through his grocery cart, his bags of his personal belongings, right? And what do you think he pulls out of his bag?
Her cell phone.
Her cell phone.
Wow.
Yeah. And we were like, he goes, is this it? I said, yeah, that's it. And so he gave it back to Catherine.
Wow, that was nice.
And then, of course, we gave him a little tip for his time.
There you go.
Because I thought it was very sweet of him to come clean about it. He could have kept it.
Absolutely.
It could have been in that bag, and I would have never known,
Very true.
I really couldn't prove it.
Well, good for him for being honest.
So there you go.
Right?
So that's when I turned to Pam, and I said, hey, your day just got a lot more exciting.
That's true. You went on a scavenger hunt in downtown Atlanta.
You're right. She thought it was so. I said, we just went downtown and found got a cell phone from a homeless man.
See,
right?
And there you go. You find the silver lining to any situation.
Every time.
Your daughter lost her phone, and in the turn, you had an adventure.
There you go. So just when you think you're having a boring day, it can turn on a dime.
Yes,
it really can. You know what? We're going to completely switch subjects here for a moment because I had a conversation this week with a girlfriend of mine who's from the South. I'm from the South, too. She's more from the deep South. There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a little difference, right? She was talking to me about the difference between dinner and supper. Okay.
That's a question that I've always had.
Are
they different? And if they are, which one? And if they aren't,
right?
Technically, which one is right?
Right. Well, and you know what? It may not be which one is right. It could be. It depends a lot on where you're from.
Yeah, it's a dialect thing.
And how your family used it. But dinner and supper, these two simple words are often used interchangeably to describe the general setting of the last meal of the day, right? But the two terms actually could not be more different, both in origin and meaning, right? First of all, let's define the terms. Merriam-Webster established dinner as the principal meal of the day. Okay?
The big one.
The big one.
Okay.
Supper, on the other hand, actually has three definitions. It is one, the evening meal when it is eaten at midday. Does that make sense?
Okay.
The big meal of the day, when it's eaten at midday, is referred to as supper.
Okay.
It can also mean a light meal served late in the evening.
Okay.
Or AKA my kind of snack.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Or three, it can be an evening social, especially for fundraising, like a supper club or something like that. They refer to it like that. So in other words, what we refer to as the lunch hour today was actually reserved for dinner. Whereas supper, traditionally speaking, was thought of as a light meal following dinner. Does that make sense? Right?
Yes.
Now, if you grew up in the South post-colonial era, however, chances are your association with the words have more to do with colloquial etymology rather than the time of day you sat down to eat, right? You would often hear your grandma say, supper's ready.
Yes.
And you knew what that meant.
Oh, yeah.
You knew what that meant. But the interesting thing is that beyond regional and age differences, we can also trace the derivation of both words back to the American colonial period. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So actually, supper came from the word originally meaning soup. It was a lighter meal. It was not the heavy 5-course meal. It was a lighter meal that was eaten later in the day.
Huh.
How about that? And oftentimes back in the colonial era and even all the way through even the early to mid 1900s when we had far more farmers working farms,
by far.
Individuals had to eat their big meal in the middle of the day so they had the energy to get through the rest of the day.
That's true.
Right?
Well, wow.
A Hot Pocket was not going to tide them over. Through the
Very
rest.
good point, not when you're out there working the fields.
Day. I know it. So there you go. Now you know the difference. I say you use whichever one your grandma used.
There you go. That's the right way to do
however your
it.
grandma said it, that is the correct way. You know what we're going to be talking about today?
What is that?
We got a list coming up of ways to become unlikable.
Oh, no. I don't think some people need help in that category,
that's true.
unfortunately.
It comes naturally to some. We're also going to handle the great mayonnaise debate in the third segment.
Uh-oh.
You like that? And how about the best ways to keep your dogs cool and comfy in the summer heat?
We love Fido.
Hang in there. We'll be right back.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
Hey, KLRN radio family. This is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com. And welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio show. Liking me some Herbie Hancock.
Oh, yes.
Y'all may remember him from the 80s. He did some really kind of funky techno music songs in the 80s, but he's got a huge jazz background. That's where he came from.
This is great stuff.
I love it. Nick, I like you an awful lot.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I do. I just think you're one of my favorite human beings, and I like to think that there are at least maybe one or two people out there that think that about me.
Well, I do.
Well, my kids have to. You know, they're related to me. They have to like me. Earl has to like me.
That's typical. I brought you into this world. I'll take you right out of it.
Yeah. Okay. That's one of those things I said I'd never say. And I have. At the right moment, sometimes it's appropriate. But what I was going to tell you is one of the reasons I think I like you is you really do not have some of these what I call unlikable character traits.
Oh, yes. I'm interested to hear this. I really want to know.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys, Nick doesn't need any help. He's very likable. Well, but, a lot of us are walking around out there. And maybe you're wondering, gee, why is it that I get the sense that people don't like me? You know, you might be doing some of these things.
Yeah.
This is a cautionary tale, not accusatory, just cautionary. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to kind of share some concepts and ideas with you, things that actually can make a person unlikable. All right? We're going to count down from 9 to 1. Okay? I think that's the safest way to do it.
From the bottom of the list to the number one thing that will make you unlikable.
Yeah, number one's a big one, in my opinion,
okay.
right? Okay, but number 9, we're counting down, would be sharing too much too early. Okay? Now, while getting to know people requires a healthy amount of sharing, that is true, sharing too much about yourself right off the bat comes across wrong.
Yeah.
And you have to be intuitive to kind of pick up on that. You know, your listener will know when you cross the line.
Yeah, and I think that the sharing too much doesn't necessarily mean sharing too much information just like in an amount.
Right.
But getting really, really personal when we just sat down for 30 minutes for lunch.
Thank you. Or confessions. Those are even worse.
Yeah, I don't need to know about your mama's.
No. Personal, no.
Yeah, I don't want to know about that.
So be careful, folks. Be careful to avoid sharing personal problems and confessions too quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Now, once you're BFFs or you're married to the person, then you just let it all hang out.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Likable people let the other person guide them as to when it's the right time for them to open up. So oversharing comes across as, well, quite frankly, self-obsessed.
A little bit.
Right? And a little insensitive to the balance of the conversation. That's actually a whole nother segment we could do. Balanced conversation. You talk. I talk. You talk. I talk. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's a give and take.
It is. It's a ping pong game.
Both people have to walk out of the conversation learning something, and then you win.
Exactly. But not too much.
Yeah, and if I learn, I don't want to talk to you again, then you messed up.
You messed up. Exactly. Think of it this way. If you're getting into the nitty-gritty of your life without learning about the other person, then you're sending the message that you see nothing in them more than basically they're just a sounding board to your problems. And nobody wants to be a sounding board. Okay. Number 8, having a closed mind. Okay. That is likely to make you unlikable.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you want to be likable, you do need to have a certain amount of open-mindedness. This makes you approachable and interesting to other people.
Absolutely. And that's something just to clarify real fast for folks. That doesn't mean you have to get some new idea and go, wow, you're so right.
Right.
You can go, I don't agree with you, but I can see where you're coming from.
Exactly.
Everyone, then we're good.
Right.
Just slow down.
I know. You know what? And quite frankly, the political world, the media world right now could learn a little something from this.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that you have to change your convictions or your morals.
Right.
You just are willing to at least listen to someone else's opinion.
We don't have to agree, but we need to get along.
Right. And nobody wants to have a conversation with somebody who is unwilling to listen. So it's important. Having an open mind is crucial also in the workplace, where approachability means access to new ideas and help. Okay? So to eliminate preconceived notions and judgment, you need to see the world through other people's eyes.
Absolutely.
I just do feel like the world would be a better place if we all kind of saw it through others' eyes.
Yes, it would.
Until you walked really in someone else's shoes, you really can't judge.
No, you can't.
Number 7, gossiping.
Oh, my goodness.
We had our gossip picture up a minute ago.
I'm surprised this is not number 1.
Well, you know what? For some people, it might be.
Very true.
If there's one of these things that you do more than everything else, it might be your number 1. People make themselves look terrible when they get carried away with gossiping. Now, wallowing in talk of other people's misdeeds or misfortunes may end up hurting their feelings if the gossip ever finds its way to them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's also pretty much guaranteed to make you look negative and spiteful.
It does.
It
definitely does.
Just avoid it. The old if you can't say something nice, don't say anything.
Don't say anything
that holds
at all.
true. A number 6 way to be unlikable. How about name dropping?
This one time, so-and-so who plays for the Falcons, right?
Right. Yeah, I know him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I ran into him at Starbucks.
I do that with you sometimes.
I know him. Do you really?
I know Jenny Earhart.
Yeah, I know. I say the same thing about Nick Bean. Everyone is jealous that I get to work with you. It is great to know important and interesting people, but using every conversation as an opportunity to name drop is pretentious and, quite frankly, here's a really scientific term, silly. Right?
Spot on.
It's kind of like humble bragging, which we're going to get to later. Okay? Now, so people are averse to those who are desperate for attention. So simply being friendly and considerate is all you really need to do to win people over. You don't need to be, dropping names. No. Number 5, and this is a doozy, okay? Whipping out your phone while you're talking to someone. That will make you instantly unlikable in my book.
I will say, as a millennial, I can give exception to your phone going off and you taking a peek at it and putting it back away.
Right.
If you take a peek at it and it's that serious, either A, you don't need to be texting back and ignoring me talking to you.
Right.
Or B, you need to go, hey, I'm so sorry, but I really need to take this.
Exactly.
And
the house is on fire, emergency.
Exactly.
Right.
Things happen.
Right. So, but nothing turns a person off when you're in like mid-conversation and you turn away to take a call. You know, it's just, it ain't fitting.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean? How about number 4, emotional hijackings? Now, do you know what these are?
Oh.
They're ugly. All right. Now, I actually know a person who works for a company that provides 360-degree feedback assessments, and they come across far too many instances of people like throwing things, screaming, making people cry, other types of symptoms that show that a conversation has turned into emotional hijacking. Okay. It basically demonstrates low emotional intelligence. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. As soon as you start to show that level of instability, like you lose your temper, you yell, you scream, you make somebody cry, you know what I'm saying? You are basically, people are then going to question whether or not you're trustworthy and capable of keeping it all together when it counts.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Don't be hijacking.
No.
The emotions.
Just keep yourself in check.
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to on that one. Is
I
keep
agree.
yourself in check.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's not that. I mean, it's harder for some than others.
Oh, yeah.
There are some
Absolutely.
people who are more passionate, right? But you've just got to learn to use that constructively.
Yeah, everyone needs to learn to walk away sometimes.
Another unlikable character trait is not asking enough questions. How about that? Have you ever even thought of that one?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, I know of people who just don't ever, like you said before, the whole talking about yourself and all about you.
Right.
You know, maybe I want to talk about myself a little bit.
I know.
You know, you can't take that overboard. You find that balance. So you're right. When someone's like, oh, what do you do for work? And then they just go, and they go, and they go, and they go, and they go.
Right.
Like,
And you know, have you ever had someone do this? And this is kind of comes under this category. It's one of the biggest mistakes that people make in a conversation. You're so focused on what you're going to say next that you are really not listening to what the person is saying to you at that moment.
Absolutely.
You're already in your head thinking of what you're going to, and you can always tell it that has happened because you say something that's kind of alarming or shocking and should elicit a response from them, and they're just kind of like, yeah, well, you know, I did and you know they didn't even hear you.
Yep.
They didn't hear you. Number 2 way to be instantly unlikable is being too doggone serious. People gravitate towards people who are passionate. That said, it's easy for passionate people to come across way too serious. Yes. Okay? They tend to get very absorbed in their work. They could be friendly, but they're just too doggone serious, right?
Laugh at yourself.
You got to.
You have to.
Exactly. You know?
Oh, my goodness.
Number 1. Okay? I gotta say, well, I think it's a big one.
Need a drum roll.
We mentioned it already. It's called humble bragging. Now, we covered this a little bit when we did a segment on Facebook etiquette a couple of, maybe 6 months ago, I guess it was. We really should do it again. Humble bragging, you know? Example. You put a Facebook post out there. Does anybody have a good recommendation for a storage facility? I just got to find some place to put all of Junior's awards and trophies.
Ding, ding, ding.
He's just got too many.
Oh, I know.
My baby's just got too many awards.
Like, you know, guys, I really need somebody who knows a really good boat salesman to sell my massive 45-foot yacht. I just don't have room for it anymore.
Oh, gee.
It's like, oh.
What can you do, right? Guys, does anybody have a recommendation for a really good insurance company that you know that covers Porsches? Because mine
Precise. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who do that.
Oh, all the time.
Oh, my goodness.
All the time. You know, we all know those people who like to brag about themselves behind the mask of self-deprecation, right? For example, the gal who makes fun of herself for being a nerd when she really just wants to draw attention to the fact that she's smart, right? Or the guy who makes fun of himself for having a strict diet when he really just wants you to know how healthy and fit he is. Got it? So people may think that self-deprecation makes their bragging okay. It does not.
No, it doesn't.
Anybody with half a brain cell sees right through that. Ooh, you know what? This was kind of a serious segment, wasn't it? I hope you don't feel like we scolded you in any way. We've all been guilty a little bit of these at one time or another.
Time for some self-reflection.
Hey, guys, let's go talk about Mayo in the next segment. Much more lively. Bye.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Although Hidden Traps is not officially released until August 1st, you can pre-order your paperback or ebook copy now from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Turn off the telly, Nelly. Come to the table, Mabel. Now sit up straight, Kate. It's time to eat, Pete. Have a banana, Hannah. Try the salami, Tommy. Get with the gravy, Davy. Everybody eats when they come to my house.
And welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio program. It is time to eat.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's time to talk about food, fantasize about food.
Best part of the show right here.
And no better place to do it, I'm telling you, than in the South. You know, this whole mayonnaise segment we're doing, it just wouldn't go over in Nebraska.
No, not quite so much.
They wouldn't care.
But we take our mayo serious down here in the South.
It's serious biz. You know what I'm saying? Mayonnaise binds the South together. How do you like that?
Oh, yeah.
Just like the chicken and the tuna.
Well,
it binds it together.
Mayonnaise, thicker than blood.
It is. Now, guys, without it, we are pimento cheese. Think of it. Without pimento cheese, deviled eggs. How about your summertime tomato sandwich? Which, by the way, I'm eating a lot of this week because my garden decided to just start, I'm harvesting tomatoes all at once. I had nary a tomato for 2 months, and now I've got like 50 in 1 week.
They're all coming at you, right?
We've done tomato sauce. We've done salsa. We've done all kinds of yummy things. But I am telling you, and you know this, Southern sisters and the men who adore them, you know very well that a tomato sandwich in the South would not be the same without a little layer of mayo, right?
No, of course.
Your potato salad would lose its panache.
Ooh.
Your coleslaw would lose its charm.
Ooh. I'm trying to think of all these things without mayonnaise.
It'd be hard. But I do know people who don't like mayonnaise.
Well, that's their fault.
Yeah, it is their fault. Now, I will say the proportion is important. You don't want too much mayonnaise in something because then you lose the flavor of whatever it is, right? But Southerners' love for mayo is not as simple as the paperback romance novels you may find in the next aisle at the grocery store. There are as many different brands of this consecrated condiment. I love that. This inviolable ingredient, as there are SC football teams, and the passion they invoke is similarly inflamed. Now, perhaps your Aunt Gladys Jewel swears that only Duke's will give her chocolate cake its mystic moist texture. Maybe Blue Plate was what your grandfather smeared on his sandwiches after work. In a world ruled by chaos, folks, more so than ever, a jar of mayonnaise in the fridge may be one of the few comforting constants to count on. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's kind of run through them.
Yes.
Let's have a little overview, an assessment, shall we say. Okay, let's start with the mother of all mayonnaises here in the South, Duke's, right? It was born of a Eugenia Duke's enterprising spirit in the 1920s. This Southern staple was created to prepare pimento cheese and egg salad sandwiches for hungry soldiers who were training in Greenville, South Carolina. Okay, Mrs. Duke's mayonnaise recipe became so beloved that she quickly sold her sandwich business and focused her attention just on producing mayo. How about that? We argue that it has the most balanced flavor, making it the perfect canvas, and its devoted disciples would agree. Okay, I gotta say, I didn't grow up eating Duke's, but I'm definitely a convert.
Oh, yes.
You know?
I agree with you. I think Blue Plate was kind of the staple in our house for a little while.
Yeah.
And then about high school time, that changed over to Duke's, and it's
Really?
just,
It's got a good reputation.
Mm-hmm.
I like the story behind the company. You know, how it started. It started with this woman who had the sandwich business. You know, it'd be kind of like Paula Deen coming out with her own,
right.
Dean's mayonnaise. You know, it could take off.
Very good point.
All right. So I got to say, Duke's is my personal favorite. How about those Hellman's fans out there, though?
Yeah, that's been a big one down here for a long time.
Right. Now, Hellman's is what I grew up on. It's what my grandparents used to eat. Now, while Duke's may have a majority of people's sort of attention and devotion, perhaps the most famous of all mayo brands, and this version being a little bit tangier, okay? Hellman's is known to be a little bit tangier than Duke's, for example. So there you have it. It's a little bit tangier. Although it has been the object of controversy in recent times for perhaps changing the viscosity of its formula, its recipe. Had you heard this?
No.
This is serious news.
Really?
Yeah, apparently they kind of fooled around with the recipe just a little bit. Hellman's did.
Come on.
Yeah, and I think that maybe there was a little bit of an outcry.
I would think so.
You remember the whole New Coke thing back in the... Were you even born then?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sorry.
That just brought me right down. I was flying so high.
But I know what you're talking about. Yes,
well,
I have.
Okay.
I grew up here. I know my Coca-Cola history.
Right.
And yes, I remember the flop.
No,
I know of the flop that is New Coke.
Don't take that personally. I'm happy for your youth, Nick. I am happy for your youth. No, but you're right. You're right. It was a big brouhaha. They thought they could make it better. Right, and they were wrong.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Maybe, I don't know if Hellman's figured that out, and I don't know if they changed their mayonnaise recipe back. Viscosity, that's interesting. You usually think of that in terms of like motor oil. But
point.
Now let's talk about your beloved Blue Plate mayonnaise or something from your past, right?
Yes.
Okay, so like there is no other city like New Orleans. There is no other mayo like Blue Plate. Born across the river in Gretna, home to brands like Zatarain's, right? Blue Plate has a cult following and appears in select grocery stores outside of Louisiana, but it has one ingredient that does not appear in some mayo brands. You know what that is? Sugar.
Really?
Yes. Although it gives Blue Plate a smidge of sweetness, it works as a counterpoint in savory recipes like chicken salad.
Huh.
You know, it will. Sugar is an amazing thing, and a little bit in the way that salt works. Sugar, just a touch of sugar, can affect the balance of flavors in a dish. Got something that's very acidic and tomatoey and harsh. A little. I put just a dash of sugar like into my tomato sauce.
Wow.
When I'm making homemade tomato sauce, yeah, it just kind of balances it out. So I guess that's what's happening with the Blue Plate. Okay.
I think that's a great. Wow.
Have you ever heard of Bama? Bama, Bama mayonnaise.
I think I have.
Have you?
I think so. Yeah.
What about that?
Is it red?
I don't think so.
Huh.
But
not the mayonnaise. I mean the label. I'm sorry. Obviously, if your mayonnaise is red, folks, you have a problem. I mean the label for it.
Oh, man.
The label.
I'm trying to figure out how you get red mayonnaise. That is not appetizing, Nick. That is not appetizing. The most beloved mayonnaise you've ever not heard of, right? Bama has a loyal legion in Alabama and Mississippi, where it's still the most popular brand, although it's also sold in over 20 countries.
Huh.
Right? How about that? It's also a little bit on the sweet side and has a more of a lemon pronounced flavor.
Wow.
Gotcha?
That's interesting.
Little squeeze. Yeah, Bama It's got a red.
It's got a red label.
Nick pulled it up on his laptop.
I know my food.
You do know your food. You'll never hear me complain about your food knowledge. How about Mrs. Filbert's mayonnaise? Have you heard of this one?
I've never heard of that.
The most, actually, a Virginia export is what this is. Oh. Mrs. Filbert's mayonnaise, like its advertisement that ran in national newspapers in 1958 says, is a more delicate, lighter spread. The company also claims to have used apple cider vinegar, aged apple cider vinegar no less, and a collection of imported spices that add special zest and, wait for it, bouquet to the mayonnaise. Huh. Whether or not that is still the case, it still claims a spot in a Southern pantry.
That's
Mrs.
funny.
Filbert's mayonnaise. I love it. Do you know one of the best ways that I would suggest showcasing a good mayonnaise this summertime? I got to tell you, this is what I am doing at my house. I have a fabulous recipe for an herbed buttermilk dressing that utilizes mayonnaise that is absolutely outstanding, drizzled on salads, burgers, no less, sandwiches, raw or roasted vegetables. It is absolutely a phenomenal dressing or topping or condiment for just about anything, especially in the summertime. Here's what you're going to do, guys. Pull out that blender. You know you have it out on the counter right now for those margaritas you made last night, right? What you're going to put into that blender is 1 cup of buttermilk, a half a cup of mayonnaise, brand of your choice, right? 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, 1 clove of minced garlic, a little bit of kosher salt, a little bit of black pepper. Now, here's where the fun comes. Throw in a handful of your favorite herbs. You could do anything really, especially this time of year, anything from the garden, something you picked up from the farmer's market. Let's just say, for example, a tablespoon of chopped fresh chives, maybe some fresh dill, some parsley, whatever looks good, whatever's fresh, toss it in there, okay? You're going to combine all of these ingredients in the blender. You know how I like to store this is just in a mason jar in my refrigerator. It'll keep for about a week and a half. It's fabulous, yeah. Huh. And let me tell you, you put the mason jar full of this herbed buttermilk dressing on the dinner table with just about anything you're making, and the family's going to love it. Love it.
Yummy.
Yeah. I had a girlfriend who always used ranch dressing on her sandwiches rather than mayo. I don't know that I'd do that.
No.
But I've been roasting a lot of vegetables this summer, guys. I'm telling you, I'm pulling stuff out of the garden right and left. We roasted some gorgeous zucchini and yellow summer squash this week, tossed it in a little olive oil, roasted it on a big baking sheet. I'm roasting just about everything in terms of vegetables.
I think that's perfect for the summertime. Though.
Fabulous. Yeah. You know, and even at my favorite restaurant, my favorite grocery store lately has been Sprouts.
Oh, yes.
Because they opened a new one near my home, and it calls to me like the sirens called to Odysseus, right? It just calls to me. And I go in there, and it's like I hear angels singing as I'm walking through the produce department because it's so lovely and beautiful, and they have such original items.
It's a wonderful little spot.
Well, you know the little baby carrots that everybody, if you had children, you had baby carrots in your house because that was, for a lot of small children, that's the only vegetable they'll eat.
Yeah.
You know, the little baby. They have baby heirloom carrots in a bag.
Oh my gosh.
So you've got purple ones and yellow ones and white ones. I toss those in olive oil, roast them at 425 for about 15, 20 minutes, right? Sprinkle them with salt and pepper, drizzle a little of this herbed buttermilk dressing over them.
Oh,
Hello.
Sounds
it tastes
wonderful.
like summer. It tastes like summer. Hey, guys, we're so glad you joined us. Remember, this recipe will be on our website, southernsistershome.com. Just click on the blog, and we'll be right back.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your website, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need The Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
And welcome back to the Southern Sisters radio program. We don't do a whole lot of dog segments, but when we do, I just love them.
Love puppies.
I just love, you guys have probably heard me talk about Dixie the Wonder Dog on the air before. This is my heart and soul, this dog. Do you know that we had a rule that no dogs were allowed on our sofas for years?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, at one point we just finally had a change of heart and said, you know what? Who are we kidding? What do we really care? First of all, Dixie is a very clean, neat dog, right? She's well groomed. So I got to the point where I don't really have a problem with her being on the sofa with me if we're watching TV or reading or something like that. The problem is we trained her not to get on the sofa for so long that even now, when she's on the sofa with me, she has this sort of guilty look.
She's anxious.
Yeah, she can't.
Mom,
yeah.
Is Dad going to get mad?
I know. She's not sure. I keep assuring her it's cool, it's chill, Dad's fine with it. But no, she's not at ease. Let's just put it that way.
That's fun.
Hey, guys, you know what? If you love your pets as much as I love my Wonder Dog, Dixie, then, you might want to be thinking about the summertime and some of the issues that may crop up during the hot weather, right?
Yeah, they have jackets on all the time.
Right?
Right? They always have on coats, even in the summer.
We have to be thinking about our four-legged friends and what's best for them, because a lot of times we think what's good for us is good for them, and that's not always the case.
No, it's not.
I remember reading somewhere that dogs don't sweat. I don't know if you know that to be true.
Yeah, it comes out. That's why their tongues hang out.
Their tongues hang out.
That's how they sweat.
They pant. That's how they give off their heat, I guess. But I tell you, our pets, however, do love summer just about as much as we do. And for many, it's the best time of the year to be out and about and just kind of enjoying the great weather and everything that summer has to offer. Now, while there is nothing wrong with taking your pet along with you for, hikes and swimming and picnics or just running, right? Dixie loves when we go for walks. She loves to come, right? But keep in mind that warm weather, it can be dangerous for our pets, okay? It's hard for pets to keep cool because when the sun is beating down and animals don't sweat like people do, right? That can be a real problem. Although, I do remember hearing that dogs do sweat a little bit, just not very much. It doesn't really cool them off.
No.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So for those of you that may write me and say, that's not true, dogs do sweat. It's not a significant amount and certainly not enough to cool their body temperature, right? So as you probably know, dogs more commonly cool themselves down through panting. Mm-hmm. And when there is only hot air for a dog to breathe, it is a lot harder for that dog to keep cool.
Absolutely.
Okay? So we're going to talk about a few things, just ways to treat our dogs during the hot weather, all right? Number one, never, ever leave your dog in a hot car.
No.
Okay.
Oh, gosh, no.
Right? Now, you've probably heard this one before. This is no surprise to anyone, of course, but it's so important that we still, we talk about this because people will sometimes think, I can just go inside for just a moment. And I will tell you, we're going to have true confessions here because I have done something. I've never left Dixie in a hot car, but we did have a little thing that we did sometimes. Okay, there is a certain establishment, a.k.a. Dunkin' Donuts, near my house. And I could drive there with Dixie, right? And it had parking spaces right at the curb. Mm-hmm. And there's a glass wall in front of it. So I could pull up there, leave the car running, run inside, get my coffee and donut in under a minute and a half, and be back in the car the whole time leaving the car running with the air conditioning.
I've seen people do that before, yeah.
I'm just feeling a little guilty about it.
I mean, my only thing is I know that you trust Dixie and that you love her.
Yes.
But how are you going to act if she steals your car? I'm just saying. How are you going to feel if you go and she's behind the wheel just looking at you as she backs out of that parking spot and takes off? Oh, my word.
Yeah, she would crank my iTunes, too, no question about it. She'd be listening to some AC/DC in about a minute.
We all love our dogs. But...
And here it was, the temperature I was worried about, not the car theft. I'm so glad you brought that to my attention. So as a rule, guys, I say no, but you know what? It's just better not to do it. I remember hearing kind of a tragic story recently about someone that had left a pet in their car with it running for a long period of time, and eventually the car conked out.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
And so how do you just don't do it.
No.
Now, make sure your dog, guys, is protected from parasites like ticks and fleas and mosquitoes and things like that. If not protected, did you know that your dog is at risk for heartworm, Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever?
Oh, that's awful.
Now, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, that's serious.
No,
that's where they develop spots and they start singing like John Denver. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I apologize for that joke. That was bad.
Oh.
And a host of other nasty and dangerous conditions. Don't forget, do you know that some of these diseases can be caught by people as well? All right?
Oh,
so you just want to make sure
Lyme
that they're
disease,
protected.
You can get that from your dog.
And that's serious.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Really? Keep your dog's paws cool. Now, this is something I did notice with Dixie because I've got black interior, leather interior inside my car. And if it's parked outside and not in the garage, we hop in the car and her little paw pads are quite hot.
She's very upset for a little while.
She's dancing around a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So consider that. If you got a dark interior, getting your dog into a hot car, maybe just throw a towel down on the seat, kind of give them that relief. Now, your dog should also always have access to fresh drinking water, okay, and shade, especially if they're spending any time outdoors.
Yes.
Be real careful. I know that with Dixie, I have to keep an eye on that water bowl because there are days when she won't drink much. And there are days when she'll drink all kinds.
I know.
And if you don't watch that bowl, and Dixie is a lady dog. She is a Southern woman, a Southern lady, so she will not drink out of the you-know-what.
Oh.
Like some of these boy dogs. The first time I had one of my children's dogs come and stay, also I heard this noise. It's like lap. He was drinking out of the toilet.
Oh, no.
And I was like, no. This is not.
Ew.
No, we don't do that in this family.
We don't do that here.
No. Dixie would never. I honestly think she would thirst to death before she did that.
You think so?
Yeah. That's
why now let me also ask on that note.
Yeah.
When it's really hot outside, you put ice in her water for her, don't you?
Oh, what a sweet thing to do.
Do you?
No. I don't
No?
know. No. But she will chase an ice cube if I get one out of the dispenser and slide it across the floor. Did you say?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, what is your dog's name?
Leela.
She's
like a beagle pit bull bulldog mix.
Oh, my.
She's like a stocky little fat chubby beagle.
Oh.
And she likes having ice in her water. And the same thing. We've got hardwood floors, so you take an ice cube out and it hits the floor, and as it goes sliding,
it's like a hockey puck.
She goes sliding behind it, right, trying to chase it around the house.
So precious. So Leela, bless her little heart. How old is Leela?
She's 5, 6.
Okay,
somewhere in there.
Dixie.
She's a little bit older.
6. Yeah,
she's still spry. I'll tell you what.
Is she really?
Oh my goodness. I think that's the wonderful thing about dogs is kind of like they're puppies,
right?
And they always kind of stay like little toddlers.
They do.
They never grow up. They're
No.
little toddlers forever with their little paws and wagging tails.
I know. I remember my dog that passed away a couple of years ago. We had him for 15 years. Even in his old age, even in his last 6 months of life, I could get him to play, I could get him to be silly and to play. That's just I think it's one of the reasons we love dogs so much.
Absolutely.
I mean, what other breed of animal in the world has the capacity to love and play with us the way a dog does? I mean,
I don't know.
There's nothing else, in my opinion. Have you ever thought in the hot weather, guys, about just picking up one of those cheap little kiddie pools, from Walmart?
Yeah.
Throwing some water in there and letting your dog splash around in it. I think that's a great idea.
They love it.
I know, right? Dogs who love the water naturally love it even more during the hot months. And, so a little kitty-sized pool might be a big hit with your favorite canine. Now, here's one other thing. Don't assume that your dog can swim well.
No.
Now, we always think that dogs can swim, and by and large, they can. But if you have one that hasn't swam before, you want to be a little careful with them. Okay? So just because dogs instinctively know how to swim doesn't mean that they're necessarily good at it, right? And if your dog jumps in your swimming pool, he might not be able to get back out with a little bit of help. So, you know.
Be careful.
Be careful.
Yes.
We're always worried about the kids, as we should be, near pools, but even with your pets, you want to be careful. What are you laughing about?
That just made me think of when I was in high school, my mom and I went on vacation to the beach, and we took her wiener dog, Alvin, with us.
Alvin.
Little dachshund, and they're digging dogs, so he was out there in the sand having a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I decided, come on, man, let's go in the water. You know, I'll be ankle deep, and you'll be swimming in it, you know, because he's a little dachshund. Well, we got out there, and lo and behold, we stepped off like a sandbar, so it just dropped about 1.5 feet really quick. So and I just kind of lost my balance a little bit. He just spelunk, went under. And I was like, and I had a leash. I had his leash in my hand, thankfully.
Word, thank goodness.
But he went under, and all of a sudden he popped back up, and his eyes were about the size of his ears, and he turned around, doggy paddling as hard as he could back to shore.
That was enough fun for the day.
He's like, nope, I'm not doing the swimming. Nope.
Little Alvin. Thank goodness you had a little a leash on him.
Yeah, I mean, he was fine. He was able to get himself up and back out. But it just made me think of that. You're right. Some dogs just don't like to swim.
No.
He's one of them.
Some do and some don't. You got to be careful. You got to know your dog.
And for those of you who still want to, and it's still summertime, people are still going out on the boats.
Yeah.
They make doggy life jackets. If you're going to take your dog out on the boat with you, please do that.
Okay, I got to tell you,
I
saw one at Marshall's this week.
They're not
in
expensive.
the checkout line.
They're like $30, $40. I mean, even if you have a big dog, they're cheaper than a people life preserver.
Right.
Please get one for your dog. Because you never know.
I mean, it was it wasn't even that expensive.
It's not. So get one for your
and
pup.
It was adjustable, so it was for different sized
dogs. And they have a handle on the back.
Yeah.
So like if they fall in, you
if
can
you
grab them by the handle.
And pull them up.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Did you know that dogs can get sunburns too?
Really?
Yeah, the ones with really short hair or very light coats. So just be careful. You know, if they're in the bright, direct sunlight for long periods of time. Yeah. I'm not going so far as to say you need to buy sunscreen for your dog, but just keep in mind, if it's a really short cut, it can get... And also, everybody knows this, if you don't have a fence, keep your dog on a leash.
Yes.
Your neighbors will appreciate that, too.
Yes, they will.
Right? Also, watch your dog's weight. Do you know, I have to tell you, I had to put Dixie on a diet last year.
Oh, no.
I used to just kind of fill up her bowl halfway, thinking that looks like about right.
Yeah.
Come to find out, if you actually read the directions for how much they should be eating, it was actually much less. I was giving her probably twice as much food.
Oh, no.
Yes. She was getting a little curvy.
Little chubby.
She's a little chubby baby.
She was filling out. That's all it was.
Right? Another thing to think about is keeping your windows screened. If you live on in a high rise, I actually had a situation with Dixie recently where I did not have a screen on a window that was on the second floor, and she put her paws up there, and she saw a squirrel in I swear, I think if I hadn't grabbed her, she would have jumped out the second floor window.
No.
Yeah. You know what? They see squirrel.
That's
you
true.
know how it is. Squirrel. They're going to run for it. Guys, we were so happy that you joined us this week for the Southern Sisters radio program. Remember, we have our recipes on our website, southernsistershome.com. Shoot us an email. I'd love to hear from you guys. radio@southernsistershome.com.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls? Start saving thousands in interest and fees and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Hey, KLRN radio family, this is Jenny Earhart. Check out the Southern Sisters radio show every Sunday at 2 p.m. right here on KLRN. Connect with me on Facebook at Southern Sisters Home with Jenny Earhart. You can also catch our Facebook Live videos, unedited and uncensored. Connect with me personally. Email me at radio@southernsistershome.com.